Morning, Sharon Landry. Good morning, Denise. Hi, Ken. Hello, Priscilla. Good morning, John. Good morning, Kristen. Bob Guinan, everybody. Hi. Yes, I know. It's been so long. How are you, Denise? Good morning, John. Great to see you. I was. Good morning, Kristen. John, I saw the picture of your hat producer thing there. That looks very cool. Hey, good morning, Amy. So glad you're here. Hope you are well. Jamie Battles, everybody. Cecile, good morning. Good morning. Yes. Julie, Canestraro, Carson, everybody in the house. Oh. Julie is actually one of those people. If you were here a few weeks ago, I showed you a picture of Julie when we graduated from seminary together. That she was there. She may not claim that, and she may drop off of this call really fast. But yeah. So top of the morning, Jamie. Hi, Irene. Matthew. Oh, you're using the hot press to make the. So John's making. Hey, good morning, Bonnie. Great to see you. Good morning, Irene. Good morning, Audrey. Yeah, so John is making the little clips for people wearing masks. That if you wear masks every day, they really wear on the back of your ears. And so there's clips that they make, and John has been making those left and right. It's a great service to the world. Good morning, Audrey. All great to see you here. Hello, hello. Hi, Vicky. Yabba dabba do, indeed. Did you just post that so that I would say yabba dabba do, and now that's actually like that? Okay, I see how that. I see the game you're playing. Good morning, Fannie Faye Davis. Hello, Donna. Good morning. It feels like taking attendance at homeroom. I know, but I feel like I want to say everybody's name because I feel like we don't hear our name said enough. Like I feel like we black market haircut for Reverend Andy. Yeah, he needs one. Good morning, Pat Parka. I hope Ken's there with you as well. If he's not, please extend my greetings. Hello, hello. Hi, everybody. The pinched ribs are killing you. Oh, gosh, I was hoping those were getting better. Glad I hope you're healing. We like it. Is that the Imperial we? That's very good. So good to see everybody this morning. Welcome. It is the 28th day of April, Tuesday, and we gather once again. So I am so glad that all of you are here. I'm so glad to see your little faces or your little icons pop up. I hope you will continue to reach out and say hello to each other and encourage one another. Part of this whole journey is that we might be pilgrims on the road together, and that we might have this chance to gather every once in a while. You'll be doing PT. Oh gosh, that's awful, but I hope it does lead to some healing. All right, so this morning we're gonna talk about hope, but I want to talk about a particular kind of hope that is talked about. There's a lot of things we can say about hope, and this is a time for hope. But I want to talk about a particular kind of hope and a particular thing that might help us in this time of just understanding about how, what does it work and how does it work and what does it really offer us to have hope. We talk about these hopes, but they can feel very foreign, very alien, very ethereal. To hope in the kingdom someday in the great by and by, like. But I want to talk about things that are in a little more of a concrete way, hopefully, so that we can kind of get our arms around this hope thing. And it comes from how Paul talks about this in the book of Hebrews. So we're going to start. We're going to start here in his letter to the church. Now, the church in Jerusalem. He's writing this likely to the Christians of the church in Jerusalem. They are taking a shellacking. They are getting beat up. They are getting persecuted. They're having a hard time. And this letter goes to them. And it's a very different letter than anything Paul ever wrote. Lots of questions whether Paul wrote it. I don't really care either way. The language in this is much more beautiful than is usually attributed to Paul's writing, and so it goes like so. And this is what he has to say to this persecuted community. When God desired to show even more clearly to the heirs of the promise the unchangeable character of his purpose, he guaranteed it by an oath, so that through two unchangeable things, in which it is impossible that God could prove false, we have taken refuge, might be strongly encouraged to seize the hope set before us. We have this hope, a sure and steadfast anchor of the soul, a hope that enters the inner shrine behind the curtain, where Jesus, a forerunner on our behalf, has entered, having become a high priest forever, according to the order of Melchizedek. Melchizedek, you didn't think you'd hear that name today, did you? Good times. Something new for you today. So, all right, good morning, Deb Votrin. Hello, great, so glad you're here. Hey, Rudy and Debbie. Hey, Doris, so glad you were here. That we're talking about this hope thing. So this hope that goes out in front of us is an anchor. And I want to talk, now I'm a sailor, many of you know that. So I'm going to talk about it in a sailing perspective because Paul was a sailor too. He spent a lot of time on ships. He understood how these things work. And so he uses this when he says Jesus goes out in front of us. Jesus goes out in front of us as a kedge anchor. Now, this is a particular kind of anchor, so I'm going to talk about this because it works on how we understand hope in our life right now and how it can work for us. So, and to me it reminds me of this story of that when I was doing a passage in a boat. I was single-handing it. It was a long haul, and I finally got to some place, and I hadn't had much sleep, and the weather had been blowing, and I finally got to a place I could anchor up, and I set the anchor and tried to get some sleep, and I could, if you've been on a boat that the anchor is dragging, you can feel like the boat move, and it drags a little bit, and it drags a little bit, and it drags a little bit, and it drags a little more, and it drags a little more, and you're just finding yourself moving along, and trying to rest in that is wildly anxiety producing, as you might imagine, because you're feeling the boat not be hard against the anchor, not be fast against the anchor, but slightly pulling along, and you're wondering what the next noise is that you're going to hear. And so it's this incredible anxiety. So I was trying to sleep deprived, trying to get rest, and I could not rest. Now, that the first two things that Paul talks about this anchor of hope is he says that it is steadfast and that it is firm. That it has the same, the words he uses have the same root as the word asphalt. That it is hard and it is compact and it is to be relied upon. That it's not an anchor that's going to drag, but it's also an anchor that's out in front of us. So the first thing we have to ask ourselves when we talk about hope is, what are the things in our life? What are the things in our life that will give us doorways and give us avenues to be good, hard bottom to set our anchor on? We talk about prayer and real fervent prayer, like really offering ourselves up in prayer. We talk about beauty. Like, I think for me often, I've talked a lot about flowers and music and other things through the course of our conversations. The reason I've talked about those is because I believe those avenues of beauty are the things that will actually become doorway. They become hard bottom for us to set our anchor of hope upon. If we want to see the face of God, we can see it in the things that stir our soul and stir our hearts and enliven our minds, that bring us alive, that give us, that incarnate us, that bring life to our meat. that we aren't just a bag of protoplasm taking in oxygen and giving off carbon dioxide, but that we come alive in these things, those things that become kedges that we can set our anchor upon of the good hard bottom. Now, here's the other question though, is what is this kedge thing? And this is what I really think how hope can work for us in this environment, in the environment that we're in. See, a kedge anchor is this anchor that goes out in front of a boat. So you have your ship and you're trying to get your ship somewhere. Now you can't sail it, you can't move it, you're constricted. It's often the way you get out of a harbor, so that a smaller boat will go out and they'll drop an anchor. And then the winch on the boat will winch towards the anchor. And then the smaller boat will pick the anchor up again and move it out and drop it down, and then the boat will winch itself. That's a practice called kedging, and it's been around forever. Paul did it when they were sailing around the Mediterranean. It is a way of getting a boat out of a harbor. It's getting a boat out of a tight space that it couldn't otherwise maybe maneuver in itself. Now, Paul talks about what Jesus has done in the world and what the way we understand our relationship to Spirit as a kedge of hope, as an anchor of hope that is a kedge, that is something we can pull toward, that keeps us pointed in the right direction. So I want to encourage you to think about what are the things that you can set down, that you can pull toward in this time as a hope. That not just things that, not just to make another batch of cookies today because it'll make me feel better, but it is the sense that our hope is set out in front of us, and it's this beautiful image of Jesus being the Melchizedek, the new high priest. Now the high priest was the one that went into the Holy of Holies. The high priest, Melchizedek, is the first high priest. He goes into the Holy of Holies, meaning he goes into the eternal, goes into the space outside of time and space, goes into the place beyond time and space. Jesus is out in front of us, friends. Jesus has a hope that's out in front of us. Find one thing that's out in front of you that you can pull toward, that you can run your winch against, that you can haul on to pull yourself forward. See, hope is not just this thing that we hold in our hearts and say, oh, one day, by and by, over the rainbow, everything will be okay. It's not that. That will get us in trouble faster than anything, because at some point we'll be disappointed upon disappointment and disappointed, and the well will run dry. Hope is an active part that we have in this life. It's an active thing that we do, is we set something out in front, and we know that something has been set out in front for all of the work that Christ has done in this world to set goodness in front of us. And it's our job to run the winch toward that hope. That is what pulls us off the shoals of our own despair. That is what pulls us out of our own weeds wherever we get tied. That our job is upon our ship is to pull towards the hope that we know that we can set down on the firm bottom of our life. So I want to encourage you, as I have been through these times. If you're not encouraging somebody else in this time, if you haven't picking up the phone, reaching out to somebody, if God hasn't laid somebody on your heart, get out there and do that. Because that, encouraging somebody else, caring for somebody else, checking on somebody else's problems, can be a kedge of hope for you in these days. The second thing is find something to be grateful for in these days. Every day, find something to be grateful for. Whether it's baking another batch of cookies, whether it's being with people that you love, whether it's being able to have the chance to connect with people if you are alone. That the ability to have this technology, whatever it is, I don't care. Whatever it is that you can find some thanks for, hold on to that and let that be a kedge that you can pull yourself towards. Because Christ Jesus is the high priest, has gone before us into the eternal, and has laid a point for us to pull against that is unshakable, that will never let go of us. And our task is but to run our winch and kedge ourselves forward off the shoals of our own despair. So Napoleon said that a leader is a purveyor in hope. And friends, if you are a person of faith, you are a leader. Okay? We live in Massachusetts, the 47th most church attendance state in the union. We are if you are a part of of a faith community, you are an exceptional person. You are outside of the norm. And if you are a carrier of faith and goodness in this world, you are a leader. You are a purveyor of hope. So not only get out there and set down your own kedge and pull yourself off of and pull against that hope, but also pull for the hope of others. All right, friends, that is my hope for all of you today. So, and our conversation. So we will pick this up again tomorrow. I am so glad to see everybody. It's so fun to see Julie here. I don't know if she managed to stick it out or not, but it is so good that all of you like being outside the norm. Yeah, the norm is not always just because everybody doing it is not always mean it's a good idea. All right, thanks, friends. Hey, Sue. Hey, everybody. So we will be here. We're gonna do another Zoom coffee hour later in the week. That'll be going out. So I hope I hope if you want to drop in and have coffee with us, that would be terrific. With that, it is my hope that you have a great day and that you find that one point that Christ Jesus has laid down in your future that you can pull against. Find that point and run your winch, that in it we may come off the shoals of our despair or our weeds, and we may know that there are better days. All right, friends, peace and grace.